Owner pretends to be a customer to test his employees. The ending is shocking. Marcus Chin stood before his bedroom mirror, methodically transforming himself from the polished owner of Swift Mart, a successful retail chain with 20 locations across the state, into someone unrecognizable. He carefully replaced his tailored suit with faded jeans and a weathered denim jacket from Goodwill. The designer watch came off, replaced by a cheap digital timepiece. His usually well-styled hair was hidden beneath a baseball cap bearing a local team's logo, and he added thick-rimmed glasses with clear lenses to complete the disguise. "You look nothing like a CEO now," he muttered to his reflection, practicing the slightly whiny tone he developed for his character, a demanding bargain hunter named Steve Mills. The transformation wasn't just about appearance. Marcus had spent weeks developing Steve's backstory and personality, even creating a fake social media presence with a history of complaining about various businesses. As he drove his wife's modest Honda Civic instead of his usual Tesla, another calculated choice, Marcus recalled the board meeting that had sparked this whole plan. The quarterly numbers showed a concerning trend. While profits were steady, customer satisfaction scores were dropping across multiple locations. The mystery shopper reports painted an inconsistent picture. Some stores maintained excellent service standards, while others seemed to be struggling. "We need more than mystery shoppers," he had told his executive team. "They're too obvious now. Employees can spot them from a mile away." What Marcus didn't share was his growing suspicion that something deeper was wrong. The employee turnover rate had increased by 15% in the past year, yet his HR director insisted everything was fine, attributing it to normal retail industry challenges. Pulling into the parking lot of Swift Mart number 12, one of his newer locations in a middle-class suburb, Marcus felt a flutter of anticipation in his stomach. This would be his first test run as Steve Mills. He'd chosen this location carefully. Its metrics were middle of the road, neither particularly concerning nor outstanding. Before stepping out of the car, he opened his notes app and reviewed his plan one last time. Act as a difficult but not immediately aggressive customer. Gradually escalate demands for unauthorized discounts. If refused, threaten negative reviews on multiple platforms. Document how staff handles the situation. Repeat at different locations to identify patterns. What Marcus didn't write down was his private hope that this experiment would prove his fears unfounded, that his employees would stand firm yet professional in the face of unreasonable demands. He had built Swift Mart from a single store 15 years ago, and his business philosophy had always been simple: treat employees well, and they'll treat customers well. As he pushed his cart through the automatic doors, Marcus noticed something that his regular visits had never revealed. The greeter, whose name tag read Jenny, wasn't just tired. She looked defeated. Her "Welcome to Swift Mart" came out as a barely audible mumble, and she never made eye contact. In his previous visits as the owner, Jenny had always seemed energetic. Was she just having a bad day? Or was this her normal demeanor when she thought management wasn't watching? Marcus deliberately filled his cart with items he knew couldn't be discounted according to company policy. Already reduced clearance items, basic groceries with razor-thin margins, and electronics that had price-matched guarantees with specific competitors. He'd written these policies himself, designed to be fair while keeping the business profitable. At the checkout, he got in line behind an elderly woman who was carefully counting out exact change, instead of opening another register, which store policy required when lines exceeded 3 customers. The cashier simply waited. Marcus made a mental note, feeling his first twinge of genuine concern. This was basic customer service, something every Swift Mart employee was trained to handle. When it was finally his turn, Marcus began his performance. "These items are marked way too high," he complained, picking up a discounted laptop. "I saw it cheaper at TechWorld yesterday." He knew it was impossible. Swift Mart's computers automatically matched TechWorld's prices daily. The cashier, David, responded with the scripted politeness that set Marcus's teeth on edge. "I apologize, sir, but our price match guarantee with TechWorld is automated. If their price was lower, our system would have already adjusted." "Well, your system is wrong," Marcus pushed, channeling every demanding customer he'd ever encountered. "I want to speak to a manager about this. And while we're at it, These groceries are overpriced too. Everything in my cart should be at least 20% cheaper. David's response surprised him. Instead of calling a manager immediately, as policy required, the young man glanced around furtively and lowered his voice. Look, I can't adjust the computer's price. But he hesitated, then continued. If you sign up for our rewards program, I know a way to add some unauthorized points to your account. It would work out to about the discount you're asking for. Marcus felt his carefully constructed plan crumbling. He'd expected to encounter employees who might bend under pressure, but this immediate offer to circumvent the system caught him off guard. What troubled him more was David's casual tone. This clearly wasn't the first time he'd made such an offer. Tell me more, Marcus said, staying in character while his mind raced. As David explained the scheme, a complicated manipulation of the rewards system Marcus had never known existed. He realized this undercover operation might reveal far more than he bargained for. The real test wasn't going to be about employee adherence to policies. It was going to expose what happened in the blind spots he never thought to examine. As Marcus continued his undercover journey, moving from store to store, he uncovered troubling patterns and individual acts of defiance against corporate policies. At store number 7, located in an upscale neighborhood, he encountered Aisha, a young employee who quietly advised him to return on markdown days to save money. At store number 3, Ray, an experienced worker, revealed the disconnect between corporate expectations and the daily realities of store life. Through these interactions, Marcus began to see how his systems and policies, designed with the best intentions, were failing to account for the human element. Employees were improvising solutions to navigate rigid systems that prioritized metrics over people. Customers were often left frustrated, not by the employees themselves, but by the constraints under which they operated. The turning point came when Marcus overheard two employees discussing the challenges of meeting unrealistic productivity targets. Their bitterness and resignation underscored a culture of distrust and disconnection between corporate leadership and store-level staff. Marcus realized that his focus on data-driven decision-making had blinded him to the lived experiences of his employees and customers. Determined to make a change, Marcus called an emergency meeting with his executive team. He shared the stories and observations from his undercover journey, challenging his leaders to rethink SwiftMart's approach from the ground up. "We need to tear it all down and start over," he said. "No more Band-Aids on a broken system." Over the next 6 months, SwiftMart underwent a transformation. Policies were rewritten to prioritize employee empowerment and customer satisfaction. Compensation and benefits were improved, and store managers were given greater autonomy to address local needs. Employees were encouraged to share their ideas and feedback, fostering a culture of collaboration and trust. By the time Marcus revisited store number 3, the changes were evident. The rigid scripts and forced smiles were gone, replaced by genuine interactions and a renewed sense of purpose. Employees like Ray had been promoted to leadership roles, ensuring that the lessons learned from Marcus's journey would continue to shape the company's future. As Marcus left the store that evening, he felt a renewed sense of pride in what SwiftMart had become. The journey had been humbling, but it had also reaffirmed his belief in the power of human connection. SwiftMart was no longer just a retail chain. It was a community where employees and customers worked together to create something meaningful.